John Roca coming in hot again on the Reilly Roundtable.
You know it.
You might be my most consecutive guest, my
Sure.
most reliable
Frequent
guest.
guest?
Frequent
Well,
is the
certainly
word I'm looking
reliable.
for. So I have to ask you, we've talked about DC
Yeah.
a number of times.
We have.
We're going to switch gears to the MCU. What's your favorite MCU movie, man?
I think at this point, where it stands right now, I have to say Avengers Infinity War.
Wow.
It does. I mean, Thor Ragnarok had kind of moved into pole position recently.
Yeah.
But Infinity War has done its business in my mind and heart.
I couldn't. Yeah. Infinity War is getting there. I'm not ready to crown it just yet. And I will say though, Thor Ragnarok is coming in hot.
Yeah.
For me, I've watched it a number of times. Did it for my Netflix and Shill Patreon thing, where we all sit around, live commentary, discussion, watch the movie together.
Yeah.
And after that one, where the fans and we all got geeky.
Yeah.
Thor Ragnarok, man, it's so amazing. But Infinity War, I'm glad to hear that because, you know, it's kind of apropos for what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
Infinity War is going up there. I want to watch it again. It's amazing to me how well they pulled it off.
Yeah.
And the fact that there are so many heroes, over 28 heroes in that thing. I did some research. How did it for you land emotionally that you are calling this Infinity War your favorite?
Well, I think because of the gutsiness of the MCU to culminate the entire journey of 10 years of films with something like this. And when we as fans have that inclination to believe that they're not going to 100% go for it, and then they do go for it, and they wipe out the half the universe and then or the galaxy and then end the film with a smirk from Thanos. Just brilliant on so many levels, and the introducing all these characters working together in different teams. People like you wanted a Thor and Groot and Rocket separate movie.
I wanted so
adventure.
much.
Yeah,
as
and-
Guardians of the Galaxy. That's
there
what you
go.
call it.
And all of that, there was so much about that film that just really worked for me on so many levels, and of course, the emotional levels more than anything else. What Tony Stark goes through with Spider-Man, with everything that happens there with Thor, and him trying to avenge the death of Loki, everything of it. There's so many great emotional moments going through it, and you get that sense of fear and dread. Even with all the humor, even with the heroic moments, there's still a sense that it still wasn't enough, and that is so gutsy for a studio to take the chance to do something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And on that note, we have to talk about that. Go deep into Infinity War and look forward to the MCU future because all of that I agree with. Well said. I want to talk about that. Welcome, one and all. It is episode 21 of the Reilly Roundtable. This is a show about life. It's about movies. It's about movies and life and everything in between. And joining me today, one of my favorite people of all time.
Oh.
I could call him the greatest of all time because I'm in that camp. The champ is here. John Roca, my friend, how are you?
Good. I'm great. I'm excited. I'm happy to be back to talk with you. And
Yeah.
when you told me we were talking about today, I got even more excited because I know we can get real nerdy and sweaty down in here.
I like getting real nerdy and sweaty with you, man.
In honor of our man.
In honor of our man, John Schnepp.
Yeah.
It is so great to sit down with you. We do have a lot of similar tastes. The DCU, Man of Steel, Superman, that kind of world. But the MCU is something I haven't tackled with you and wanted to do so because, you know, it's fun to geek out. It's fun to forget the shit that's going on around there a little bit. I'd be remiss if I didn't comment on this world we're in right now. My thoughts and my prayers are with everybody in Thousand Oaks. I know that might not mean anything in this climate. But man, I feel like we need what we do here now. To just give people something to keep their head up. Doesn't mean that I'm not aware of everything around here. Doesn't mean that I don't have strong opinions on it. But I wanted to put that out there because it is it's so dark out there right now. And I just wanted to put it out there and say I'm thinking of the victims, the family, everybody. And if you wanted to say something.
No, just that I can't echo your sentiment more. Yeah. And, finding out that this is a former military guy, that's also heartbreaking for me, being a guy who served in the military for so long.
Yeah.
Yes, the questions about mental health. Yes, the questions about the Second Amendment. Yes, the questions about guns. All those kinds of things. The standard stuff's going to pop up. But what's really important here is that so many people lost their lives. Yeah, an unfortunate shooting at a place where it's supposed to be a place of celebration, dancing, hanging out, drinking, communicating, connecting with people.
It was college night. There were young kids in there, 18 and over.
Exactly. To have that shattered by someone who has something to prove or some kind of deficiency in his brain that caused him to do these kinds of things is just heartbreaking. But I think what you say is really important too, Mark. This is why this kind of stuff is important. This is why entertainment exists in our society, because our society is filled with centuries and centuries of tragic things.
Yeah.
Entertainment always takes our mind off of it. Sports or movies or TV or whatever media, it takes our minds off it and helps us believe that there's hope, right? And that's what's so important. Julia Roberts was interviewed after 9/11. They asked, well, do you find any value in being an actress now with all this stuff that's happened? And she goes, yes, even more so, because we help people heal with the stuff we do. And so...
Yeah, that's why I wanted to mention this. This could act as an evergreen episode. So if you're listening to this, and it's November 8th of 2018, it's a bad day. I'll just say it. And politics, I'm taking politics out of it.
Yeah.
Just look at it this way: people are dying. So you do what you need to do. You do what makes sense to you.
Yeah.
If you want to yell and scream out there, do it. If you want to vent, do it. If you want to listen to us geek out about Avengers and Avengers 4, do it. That's all I want to say. I do want to, keep it real, keep it. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to talk about like this, but I wanted to put it out there. Yeah. We're all with you, and we're gonna switch gears a little bit. Let's lighten it up.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Infinity War. I know this. It sounds fucking weird.
No.
It sounds so fucking weird to get so upset about these things and then go, well, let's talk about Infinity War. But we got to keep moving. We got to keep it, go do your thing, as I said. And, well, hopefully this world will get better. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I think this is a perfect segue, though, Mark, and not in any way to kind of, move into the situation with the show. But, because that's what this film does. This film shows you tragedy. This film shows you the deaths of loved ones, young loved ones.
Yeah.
And still, there's this feeling that something has to happen. And even at the end, in the last mid-credit or post-credit scene, it is hope. The Captain Marvel logo is hope. The possibility of redemption, of being saved, of changing the world. That is always there.
That is there because there was a vote that happened. Everybody came out to vote. I don't care. Red, blue, purple, yellow, green, red, what have you. People came out and voted, and that's what's important. And there is hope on the horizon. There is going to be stuff that happens out there in this world that is nasty and whatever, but keep trucking.
Yeah.
Keep trucking. So with that all being said, let's try to lighten up, have fun, as always. So we are talking about Infinity War, and I got this idea about Avengers 4 that I wanted to talk to you about, Rocha, because Infinity War came out. You talked about it in the cold open, how great it was. It's becoming one of your favorites in the MCU. And let's recap Infinity War. Critics and fans loved it, okay? Critics on 84% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, 91% audience score. That's great.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. So everybody, of course, is now looking to Avengers 4. What can we expect? What is it going to essentially stick the landing? Because, wow, Infinity War happens. And everybody's like, holy shit, they did it.
Right.
Just to all your points at the top of the show. Like how emotional it was, how great it was, how you cared about the character so much. But here's the big question, Rocha. What does Avengers 4 have to do to stick that landing, to give us the feels that we had in Infinity War? What are some of your thoughts just with that question?
Well, I think the way they ended Infinity War with the core original Avengers was really powerful.
Yeah, it was kind of cool to see that, like, ooh, there's a method to this madness that the Russo brothers are doing.
Yeah, in the end, it is still the beginning, right? And so And Tony Stark is still here, and Steve Rogers is still here, and Natasha Romanoff, Clinton Barton. We know where Clinton Barton is. Ruffalo is still around. Hulk is still around. All that is still dancing around in the mix, and Thor and whatever. So that's important.
Yeah.
And that means that that foundation wasn't shaken. That foundation wasn't killed or destroyed. That foundation is what started this whole MCU, and that foundation is what will save this whole MCU. And I think that's what excites me about Avengers 4. So sticking the landing has to start there with that core Avengers team somehow finding a way to use the gifts they were given or the knowledge they were given in Infinity War to figure out how to defeat Thanos in the long run in the second installment.
Yeah, and it's coming in though without its complications because what's great about this and having the core Avengers group there is that it's still unsettled. Cap and Iron Man, Stark and Steve Rogers, they still haven't gotten back together. They still haven't I love that moment with Tony looking at the phone, going, "Am I going to call this guy?" And it's like, yeah, you have to call this guy, and he doesn't, and that. It sets up this great emotional connection because you've had all these movies, that you're connecting with, but then that to me is at its core is the heart of this Avengers 4 movie is Tony and Cap, and that's I did hear gripes from Infinity War that we didn't get enough Cap, we didn't get enough Black Widow, Falcon, that little core group that was kind of on the run, and I've heard that we're going to get more Cap. We're going to get a little bit more. And to your point, by design, we don't have 28 Avengers anymore. We only have a small group, so we can take our time. We can focus more.
Exactly.
Did you have any, not gripes or criticisms, but were there stuff in Infinity War that you wanted more from?
Well, only from a selfish desire to have more time with the characters. Not from a selfish desire or not from an issue with the storylines or the plot at all. Right. I think when I walked out of that, because we went to the premiere, when I walked out, I was nothing but satisfied, completely satisfied. I remember walking around in a bit of a daze in the after party because I almost felt like I need to go home and digest this. Why am I here eating appetizers or whatever, having drinks with people, seeing the people that were just in the movie? Like all of that was nice and was a great experience. But in my head, all I wanted to do was dissect this frame by frame in my mind as I was sitting at my house after I saw it. So to me, that told me that this was an incredibly well done film. Would I have liked to see a little more behind, like where has Cap been this whole time? Why does he have a beard? Where has he been doing? Blah, blah, blah. We did get a little bit of why he's kind of been out of the mix a little bit, but that didn't give us enough time with them. I get those gripes. I do, but I think it's all in service of the story. Remember, these are supposed to be part 1 and part 2. That was the original title of both of these films.
Right.
So they shot it with the idea that these films were you could watch them without a break as one whole film. Like the Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2 is essentially one whole film.
Exactly.
And so I think that's what people need to understand when look at this and having gripes. Like he's going to be a massive part of part 2 because he has to be, of Avengers 4, because he has to be.
Yes.
You know, it's essential that Steve Rogers, who is the first Avenger, has to be the most essential part with Tony Stark. And so to me, we needed more Tony because Tony is darker. Tony's more complex. Tony's more complicated. Infinity War has to show that. Avengers 4 is going to be more hopeful, more positive, more leading the way to a new future. That's Rogers. So the vibes have to match the two main people from the Avengers.
It's hearing you say all this and then looking at the gripes, keep going back to, you brought up that point of the back-to-back, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like the Russos just are very, very aware of their story. They have it so methodically plotted that this is by design, and it's going to be one movie, and it makes me think of this creative groove that they had. So it makes me think of they shot Infinity War and Avengers 4 back to back. Now, sure, there's some reshoots that are happening normal big reshoots or reshoots are going to happen, and that some reports came out that a lot of the actors don't know what's going to happen. They get the pages the day of. That's by design as well. But you think about, can Avengers 4 stick the landing? I look back at the history of back-to-back filmmaking. The Matrix movies, Lord of the Rings movies, Back to the Future 2 and 3, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, the Harry Potter, Deathly Hallows 1 and 2.
Right.
And I look at that crop of movies that I just mentioned. The Matrix movies didn't really stick, right? And that, I think, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think got your thoughts on the Matrix movie. Did you like the second and third one?
The second and third ones I don't like overall as movies, but I think there are some incredible scenes in those movies. Absolutely,
without
the
question.
The battle scenes in Revolution are incredible. Revolutions are incredible, and that highway scene with the two semis slamming into each other when
so
Neo
rad.
saves Morpheus, incredible stuff.
Yeah.
And so there are some really good scenes. It's just muddled ideology and muddled plots.
Yeah.
And I think you've got two guys going through sexual progression with them becoming women, and that kind of maybe got in the way of what they were trying to do, or maybe they bit off more they could chew, and they just went. They didn't understand the philosophies that they were trying to kind of slam into each other and make connect. But overall, there are a number of scenes in both those movies that I enjoy watching, but I don't like the 2 and 3. But the first one, incredible.
Yeah, the first one's incredible. But that got me thinking, like, when you have a Lord of the Rings trilogy of movies that Oscar winning, tons of Oscars for the final chapter there, shooting back to back to back to back. Back to the Future 2 and 3. 2 didn't really get a lot of. It had mixed. I think people have warmed to it over the years, but Kill Bill Volume 1, obviously, 1 and 2, Deathly Hallows. Are the Russo brothers so locked in that Avengers 4 that it can be said with a lot of confidence that no, it's going to be very good? Or can we look at the history of some of these other movies, Matrix, Back to the Future 2 and 3, are we at risk as fans of being let down because of the shooting schedule, or is it going to strengthen the idea that no, we're going to get a really great movie?
Well, the ambitious nature of them doing this already comes with its complications, with its expectations, and with its fear, right? It's concern from fans. You saw this, but you saw this before with Civil War, Captain America Civil War. How are you going to fit all these characters in here and make it work and give them interesting storylines to play out and subplots and whatever?
Right.
And it worked. Yeah. How are you going to do this in Infinity War? There's so many people you're bringing in.
So many.
How are you going to make it work? They made it work and still added new characters. And then the third, and now with Avengers 4. So to me, I kind of admire the gutsiness of the Russo brothers to keep upping the ante and keep challenging themselves. Yes, are you removing a bunch of Avengers because they were killed by the snap? Sure. But now it becomes even more difficult because every Avenger that did live, you better give an extra amount of attention and storyline and plot line to see their progression through the movie. And that's important. So to me, overall, yes, I have confidence, but I still have trepidation because we have been let down many times before in franchises.
Oh, yeah.
Over and over and over again. So to me, that concerns me. But, you know, they've got a good track record.
They have a good track record. And you think about it, over 20 films in the MCU have led us to this moment. And you think of the different directors that came in, some of the highs and lows. I mean, what are the first movies you think about in the MCU that didn't land?
Iron Man 2.
Iron Man 2. Thor the Dark World.
Thor the Dark World, a lot of people didn't like.
Yeah, some people will say Incredible Hulk. I happen to really enjoy the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I've always been of two minds of that. Like, I think Norton was great as Hulk. I don't think Liv Tyler was a good Betsy Ross.
Yeah. She was okay for me.
Betty Ross.
Yeah.
But for me, I thought Jennifer Connelly was a great Betty Ross.
Yeah,
so
and Hulk,
if you would combine those two movies, I think you'd have had a fantastic Hulk movie.
Yeah, I think the MCU with that one in particular kind of fell in the trap that a lot of the MCU movies did, which was like, you know, you have your hero that either builds some tech, that gets an injection of super soldier serum, or becomes the Hulk through gamma radiation, and then their mirror image or the antagonist is the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? Then you have Winter Soldier, then you have Abomination, and or Warmonger, or let's say Whiplash.
Yeah.
You know, in the case of Iron Man, Hulk, and Captain America, respectively. So that's fine. They went down those roads. You had to play those things. But then, this is what's so interesting about the MCU. Like, it is unheard of, for me at least. Yeah. Your results may vary. It's my favorite saying. That these movies have landed so well, because then we started hitting a stride after, I would say, Thor the Dark World.
Yeah.
We really started hitting these movies that are really landing with fans and critics. I would say maybe Volume 2 of Guardians of the Galaxy didn't do too well. I mean, or, some people were like, it was a little much.
Yeah, some people didn't like it. I loved it. But some people didn't like it.
I watched it again, and I was like, I remember not liking it as much when it came out of the theater, but then watching it again at home. I was sick one day, and I just put on Netflix. There it was. I'm like, I'm watching this again. And I had a great time.
Yeah.
But I guess you could maybe clump that in there, but I don't really, because
I don't think you can.
How well it did.
The Yondu moment alone removes it from contention, because there's nothing in Iron Man 2 that you can point to that's enjoyable. In my opinion, there's nothing. In Thor Dark World, you could argue Thor Dark World. I think some of the stuff with Loki and the emotional nature of losing his mom, all of that, very interesting to follow.
Yeah.
I don't think they did enough with Eccleston as Malekith, and so there's issues there. And, of course, the chemistry between Portman and Chris Hemsworth, you can argue there. But there are still some good scenes in that film. So, to me, Iron Man 2, and then even Ultron, Age of Ultron. A lot of people don't like Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
There are great scenes in Age of Ultron, but I think overall Age of Ultron doesn't work 100%. So,
right.
I think those are the three films you have to point to. And the Hulk, I guess the Hulk, to me, it seems like an unofficial start to the MCU.
Yeah.
An unofficial part of the MCU, but it is. It just feels like that you can forgive, because it couldn't quite hit their strides. But these three are the films I think people come back to as maybe the ones they don't like the most.
Right.
Yeah.
And with Hulk, it's interesting because we were still in phase 1 of Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
And so, I could kind of look at that as that was a growing pains movie. And a lot of people will comment on how hard it is to make a Hulk movie. Like, how do you find that balance? And then does he work just better as a supporting character? Because then when Ruffalo comes in at Avengers, everybody's like, I'm a Hulk guy now. Yeah. I mean, I started to go, am I a Hulk guy? I don't know. He's great. But that was growing pains, I think. When you look at the evolution, though, let's go after Thor: The Dark World. I haven't really seen a misstep.
Yeah.
Now, including Avengers: Age of Ultron, I like it.
Okay.
I like it a lot because I think it's set up. If you look back at it now, and a lot of people have been pointing to it as being like, that's an important chapter for Infinity War. Because you did have, which I've heard at the time was a very weird reshoot, when you had Thor looking for some Infinity Stones, getting the visions. There was supposed to be Loki in there that I think essentially got cut out. And that to me was very important. And so a lot of people, though, have been mentioning Age of Ultron as something that worked for them.
Yeah.
But in your mind, it didn't work for you that well, or is that just...
Yeah, it didn't work for me as well. It's not one I go back to and watch all the time. I think there's maybe 2 or 3 scenes that I enjoy, but they're connected, and that is the creation of Vision is a fantastic scene, then the conversation they have afterwards with Vision in the dark in the Avengers compound at night, when they're having that conversation about what they're going to do next. That whole entire scene is fantastic, but the stuff with Ultron it just doesn't 100% get to me, and I wish it did.
Yeah.
I wish it did, but the stuff that happened at the end of Genosha, all that stuff that was going on there, didn't 100% get involved in it. So for me, that's what I would say about it. It's watchable. Certainly, I could watch it if it's on. But I think those are the scenes that I really enjoy the most, and everything around it doesn't quite work for me 1,000%.
Yeah, I get that, and I pretty much share your thoughts. But talking about Infinity War and the stones in particular, the Infinity Stones, I think about the movies that really set this up, right? Ultron is one of them because of a Vision getting an Infinity Stone, putting there and becoming that, Thor's little scenes.
Yeah.
But it really started with the Avengers, the original, right? And we see that post-credit scene with Thanos. I think it's fascinating to track the story of the Infinity Stones and Thanos through the MCU movies, because some of them, like Ant-Man, kind of works on its own, right? And that came after Age of Ultron.
Right.
But then I think, what are the movies that really, like, I look at, the question becomes, do you need to see every single MCU movie to be emotionally invested in Infinity War, or can you pick and choose certain movies to get to Infinity War? It's a fascinating question I want to get into with you. What are your thoughts immediately when I say that? Do you have to watch every single one of them and be emotionally invested? Because filmmaking in general, they're supposed to stand on their own. These movies are supposed to stand on their own. You watch it from beginning to end. Is there a clear plot line? Yes. Is there a clear character arc? Maybe. All those different things. But when I say that, Thoughts on that, Roka?
Yeah, it's a good question. Of course, my instinct is yes, of course, go in and just watch them all and make your own mind up and see which ones you like.
Yeah, because it's fun too.
Yeah,
right?
it's absolutely. If you're into comic book superhero stuff, this is fun to see on
This is
screen.
it.
Who would have thought, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, this was legitimately possible. And it's incredible to see over a decade how that has influenced the industry and changed the industry in such a fascinating way. Like I can't wait to read sociological analytical explorations of this time in the movie industry when all of the superhero stuff changed the landscape completely.
Oh, yeah.
So I would tell you, yes, watch every one if you can. That's my instinct. But you can also watch our 10-minute video that we recorded about everything you need to know about the MCU before you walk into Infinity War.
Right.
Or if you want to pick and choose the ones, I think you got to pick and choose the characters that you connect to right off the bat. Like you can pick and choose Iron Man or Thor or Captain America. You can watch, I think, Captain America and Captain America Civil War and get into the idea of Avengers quite quickly. You can watch the first Avengers. So you can pick and choose the first Iron Man, the first Avengers, the Captain America series, Thor Ragnarok, and I think that's, and then maybe Ant-Man if you want a palette, and Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. You just watch those. They give you a good idea of what this universe is all about, and the best of this universe. You'll still get the idea of the stones. You'll still get the idea of everything that's happening. It's connected, and if you pay attention to exposition and to dialogue, then you don't have to worry about watching every other MCU film. It's all there if you have a keen eye for dialogue. It's all there.
Absolutely. It's so great to actually think about it in terms of filmmaking, maybe screenwriting. Is that you go, well, what's more important, plot or character? Because that's always the question I am trying to tackle and answer when I'm writing my own scripts.
Right.
Is it character that drives the plot or vice versa? Because if you create some characters, the saying goes is a good movie, you create some very emotional, approachable characters to identify with, put them in a tree and start throwing rocks at them, and that's plot. Right? And that's exposition as well. It's like you're throwing and going, how are they going to react? Is the character going to sit there and just, oh, yeah, that hurt? Or are they going to dodge? Or are they going to come up with a weapon to whatever? So I love that question because it can be answered two different ways in the MCU. You can go to these standalone movies like maybe Ant-Man and get character for Ant-Man. Black Panther comes to mind. T'Challa, his character, what he went through to become king. Then I think of plot. Avengers, the original Avengers. That's setting up Thanos right there. I think of Thor Ragnarok. I think of, what are some of the ones that needed the Infinity Stones? Guardians of the Galaxy, that's in one. And Guardians of the Galaxy is interesting because that is character. That leads the plot along. You have to love these guys. You see them come together to get that Infinity Stone and defeat it. So, or not defeat that, but defeat Ronan, as it were. And so I love that idea, and I want to put it out there into the world for you guys to put in these comments, because we have Collider Podcasts on our YouTube channel. You can drop in some comments there. What are the movies you need to watch to enjoy Infinity War and Avengers for? So you listed off some of yours. I want to do mine. I think Iron Man is very important because it's the first movie. You got to just start there. I would say the first Avenger. I would say Captain America, the first Avenger, is really important because of the Tesseract.
I will fight for that film until I'm dead.
I will too, damn it.
Yeah.
I love that. Tell me why.
It's the closest thing to the Richard Donner Superman that you have in the MCU.
Yes.
It really is.
Along with Silvestri's score, is one of the most amazing themes for a superhero. Love it. Okay.
Yeah. And the contrast, right?
Yeah.
Iron Man is what? Iron Man is jokes, smart alecky stuff. At the end, hey, I'm Iron Man. Credits, all that kind of stuff.
You're just fucking rocking.
Right. All that stuff, which is great, gets you excited for the MCU. What is the end of First Avenger? Before he wakes up, 7 years later, it's tragedy. It is
sacrifice.
Save that dance. Sacrifice. Right. Exactly. All of that. And that, to me, is so powerful because that tells you the character of Steve Rogers versus the character of Tony Stark in this particular version of the MCU. And it's beautiful in that way. Everything about Chris Evans' performance in this film, in the first Avenger, is essentially Clark Kent. It is essentially Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He feels like an outsider. He wants to be part of this society. Everyone tells him that he can't be. He wants to show what he can do. And then when he finally gets a chance to show what he can do, he's heroic and noble because of who he was before the serum got to him.
Yeah.
And that's a great scene between him and Stanley Tucci when they're having that conversation, his character, and he says, I chose you because you're already a hero. You don't need the serum.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It
so
really
great.
is. And to have that emotional weight of save that dance for me.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
that killed me.
Every time that gets me.
Every time. And then he, he lives, he goes under for 70 years and he'll never get the girl.
Nope.
Do you know how, I mean, that to me is pinpoint accuracy of emotional storytelling that you're in.
Yeah.
And I love that. So I'd go to the mat there too. Avengers, the first Avenger needed for Infinity War and Avengers 4. You need that one. I don't think you need Winter Soldier though, which is interesting.
Okay.
That might be a hot take. That might get some people mad. Don't yell at me. But I'm just going, this is just a fun conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think you need it for the plot or to enjoy Infinity War because that Winter Soldier, one of my favorites in my top 5 in the MCU movies.
Right.
But it's a political thriller, and it really is more character for Steve Rogers than it is plot. That's really the theme of this episode: plot, character. But for the next movie, I'm wondering. Guardians of the Galaxy, definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, you definitely need that. I would say you need Thor, the original Thor.
Okay. The
Because
first
it sets up, sets up Asgard.
Yep.
It sets up the fact that there is some Infinity Stones in their vault. And it just, again, character, but needed because it's Thor. Dark World, get it out of here. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Dark World. Dark World's hard. But even though there is an Infinity Stone in that one, I think that, oh boy, do we get rid of Dark World because it had the Infinity Stone?
Well, if you watch the post-credit scene, then you don't have to watch the whole film.
That's true.
Where they take the Infinity Stone to the Collector, so you don't have to worry about it.
All right, so we're going to edit this, put just the post-credit scene.
By the way, I will push back on Winter Soldier. The only reason I think it should be is because you see the beginnings of Cap's disillusionment with society, which is what fuels the argument with Tony in Avengers Ultron, which is what fuels this division when we go to Infinity War and the fight that they have at the end of Civil War.
Yeah.
It begins in Winter Soldier, this disillusionment, the idealism of what he was raised to believe doesn't work in the modern society anymore.
Yeah.
And so how does that change Steve Rogers as a person, and how does that change Steve Rogers as he deals with what happens in this world that he is currently living in versus that 1940s do what's right, noble type of stuff?
That's a good point. I'm going to need a judge's ruling. Judges, we'll allow it. Winter Soldier needed for Infinity War. You actually changed my mind. I think that's a great point because of character. Again, here we talk about character. Steve Rogers and his disillusionment of the real world now, the world that he is forced to live in because he's a super soldier and was able to take a nice 70-year-old nap. Here's the fallout. He is needed, and he's looking at everything, and he's looking at the world, and he's like, wow, this is the world I live in right now. Captain America is needed more than ever. I would say that's the theme of Winter Soldier. So, okay, great. Winter Soldier's in there. Guardians of the Galaxy is in there. Thor, I said, is in there. Post-credit scene from Dark World is in there. What else do we have? I don't think Ant-Man's needed.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think Ant-Man's needed, but I do believe Age of Ultron is needed to get to, not only because of the obvious of the Infinity Stone going into Vision's head, Thor looking for some Infinity Stones, but more so than ever, I think it's just because it's the second movie of the Avengers.
Yeah.
So if we take the Avengers movies just as a whole, 1, 2, and 3, Infinity War, they're all needed to complete this. Okay, so how about Captain America Civil War? Is that absolutely needed for the plot of Infinity War?
For Infinity War, yes.
Yeah.
Because of the moment when Tony looks at the phone.
Yeah.
Everything bleeds from Civil War.
Yeah.
Like, it really does.
Yeah.
The entire MCU changes after Civil War.
It absolutely does.
Everything, right? Just incredibly changes. It becomes a more interesting, complex world to exist in.
Yeah.
You have to choose. I mean, like, this whole idea of Team Cap, Team Iron Man, that was a real thing people were arguing afterwards, after the film came out.
Yeah.
Do you sacrifice the whole of everyone else for your best friend, or do you sacrifice your best friend for the whole of everyone else? It's the old Star Trek thing: needs of the many, of the needs of the few.
Right.
But I was of the thing that you sacrifice Bucky for the whole. But a lot of people, I was really surprised about how a lot of people are like, no, it's your friend. You gotta try to save your friend or redeem your friend, even if it risks losing your other friends that have come around, you know, or that you have gotten to know in your most recent life.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's powerful.
It is very powerful. And again, I'm going to go to a storytelling angle.
Yeah.
I would say that if we're looking at screenwriting, I love the mechanics and the craft of screenwriting. And you think about an inciting incident, okay, that sets off the story, right? To make it simple, the inciting incident in Jaws, a girl is eaten.
Yep.
Right? Simple.
Yep.
Inciting incident for Infinity War is the Civil War movie.
Yeah.
You know why? Because Civil War breaks up the Avengers, leaves them vulnerable for Thanos, right? The Avengers have disbanded. We have kind of some new Avengers, if you think about it. Some others go into hiding. Where are our heroes? They have, I mean, in order to beat this gigantic threat in Thanos, you need your crew. You need all of them, and you need to be on the same page. And what Civil War does is rip them apart.
Right.
And for me, that is the inciting incident of Infinity War. Even though they're separate movies and they're separated by a number of movies, I would say if you look at Civil War, it is absolutely needed, and it is the inciting incident that sets up Infinity War, which I love.
So you're saying that Civil War is the separation of the Avengers.
Yeah.
Into two separate groups who have a person who's trying to divide them. So who thinks that they know what the right thing to do is about the world.
Right.
And or maybe a country. And then these two tribes have to come back together in order to defeat that thing that was trying to divide them. That's what you're trying to tell me is what
Do you know how awesome that was? I think you guys can look into that, especially in the world. Maybe that's why it's resonating so much. It really is two separate factions, two separate tribes, two separate ideologies.
Ideologies.
Were divided by an antagonist or a bigger kind of thing that's out there.
Seeking to rule, who wants loyalty, fealty, which we see in Infinity War when he has the conversations with Gamora.
Right.
Right.
God, I love that. This is becoming one of my favorite episodes. This fucking is. I love talking about this. Is getting geeky. All right, so we have Civil War.
Yeah.
Absolutely needed. Let's look at what came after Civil War. What Thor Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Spider-Man Homecoming, Black Panther. Where else are we? Is that everything?
Yeah. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah. Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Okay, so let's go back. We have Civil War, absolutely needed. Spider-Man Homecoming. We're going to jump around in timelines and everything. I'm just kind of going off. This is a from-the-hip conversation.
Sure.
Spider-Man Homecoming. Needed to enjoy Infinity War. Needed for plot, needed for character. What say you?
No, I don't. I think the scene that you have when Tom Holland introduces Spider-Man
in Civil
War, that's all you need.
Yeah.
That Brooklyn scene is all you need. You don't need Spider-Man Homecoming for the overall storyline here in Infinity War.
Yeah, because Spider-Man Homecoming is character.
Yeah.
It's really character. You're setting up Spidey. You're getting in to Peter Parker's life. You're getting his supporting world and all that. So I totally agree with you. Yeah. Even though Spider-Man Homecoming is probably close to being in my top 5 of the MCU movie. Oh, I love. There's something about Spidey that I've always, people know me as a Superman guy, but Spidey is number 2.
Yeah.
And a very close second, I will say. I got into Spider-Man from the great Brian Michael Bendis run in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe. It just kind of introduced me to him. And I'm like, wait a minute. I really was Peter Parker growing up. Not in the superhero way, and I didn't go help people or anything. It's just but in the psyche of me, like going, oh my God, I have all these things going on in my life, and I just identify with him a lot. So so Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming, we can maybe kind of push aside because we have his Civil War appearance. You get everything you need to know from that. Right. Great. Ant-Man, we've kind of already said, not really needed.
I don't feel like you need
How about Ant-Man and the Wasp?
For Avengers 4.
For
I
Avengers
think we're
4?
absolutely going to need Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
But not for Infinity War necessarily.
Now, I don't want to talk rumors or speculation, leaks, spoilers or anything for Avengers 4, but the idea that how are we obviously we're getting Black Panther 2, we're getting Spider-Man Far From Home, we're getting more movies.
TV series even.
TV series, I know. We're going to get Winter
insane.
Soldier and Falcon, we're going to get a Loki TV series, we're going to get a Scarlet Witch TV series. This is all fascinating stuff that we're going to get that can fill in some of these blanks perhaps. But, when you think about Ant-Man and the Wasp, and I will say there have been some leaked photos that kind of hint at time travel. And obviously there's a time stone. And we've seen Thanos use it. Yeah. But what about the quantum realm?
Yeah.
People are starting to kind of look at where Scott Lang went in the quantum realm and where we lost his crew. Yeah. They were turned to dust. I'm assuming everybody has seen all these movies, by the way. Didn't issue the spoiler alert. Apologies there.
I hope you've seen them, for God's sakes. Why are you...
I mean, the title of this thing, Will Avengers 4 Stick the Landing, should clue you in there. But hopefully I'm not going to get yelled at here. But
and we also see where Janet Van Dyne came out from.
Right.
Right. So that is going to feed into Avengers 4. Absolutely.
So Ant-Man and the Wasp, we keep.
Yeah.
We're keeping that in there. And... nice segue because of the quantum realm. I watched this great video the other day when I was doing some research for the show, and it was Doctor Strange. Here we go, Doctor Strange, seemingly passing through the quantum realm at one point. Because he's the master of what do they call Doctor Strange? The master? Am I making that up? What's his tagline? Is the master of mystic arts? Is that what it is?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But alternate dimensions is what we see
Master
here.
of Illusion, isn't
Master of Illusion?
I think it is.
I've never been a Doctor Strange guy. And so let me ask you about Doctor Strange in particular. Do you like that movie? Is that up there?
That is in my top 5.
That's in your top 5?
Yeah.
Got it. All right.
Roxy and I think she hates the movie, doesn't she?
I think she does. Okay. Yeah. I don't think she liked it.
See, I always find myself on opposite sides of a lot of films with Roxy, which I think makes for fun conversation.
Absolutely, it does.
But to me, this film works on so many levels for me. Just this idea of here we go with this standard, rich, arrogant prick guy who gets into a car accident from his hubris, and they allude to the other people there, patients, whatever that's going to come into play later. But he goes, and he's terrible in his relationship. What does he have to do? He has to go on a spiritual journey. He has to go. Even a person this terrible, this cocky, this rude, this dismissive, this condescending, this arrogant or above people, even he has a chance for redemption.
Yes.
And that's what this film does. It's so powerful to me is he goes on the spiritual journey and he has to fight through all of this to achieve it. And you've got these great rich characters, Tilda Swinton, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Mads Mikkelsen, all with their characters that are fantastic around the realm of what he's doing. Wong. These are all rich, rich characters in the Doctor Strange universe, and it works so powerfully. By the end, you like this guy a lot. You're in his camp now. You've forgiven him for the way he was at the beginning, and you actually have the beginnings of a possible tender love story between him and Rachel McAdams. Yeah. Because he's now a better person, and he can be a better boyfriend, husband, / whatever to Rachel McAdams' character.
Yeah, totally agree there. And this movie seems to come down to more character than it does plot for Infinity War.
And the gutsiness of the ending, Riley. It is not a standard battle to the end.
No.
It is just this repetitive thing with Dormammu, I think, over and over and over again until finally, boom, he's done.
Dormammu, I've come to make a bargain, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
I agree with you there. I really enjoy Doctor Strange. It's not in my top 5. It's probably more on the bottom. Might not even be in my top 10. Okay. However, the movie's great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the hell out of it. It just means that I liked other movies more.
Yeah, sure.
But I think it is absolutely needed for Infinity War because of the character setup with Doctor Strange. But I think there's something very important in that movie that sets it up, him going through the quantum realm being the most important, because there is something said by the Ancient One when he passes through the quantum realm that I think is a hint, maybe, at what we can see. I'm not going to spoil it for maybe, well, again, how can I spoil it if you guys are already here? But
I think it's important, too, because of the moment he has with Tony in Infinity War when he says there were 14 men, blah, 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 and there was only one way that we win this thing.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
That to me was you needed the setup of Doctor Strange to get to know Stephen Strange, and then when he here's the thing with Infinity War and Doctor Strange. He is one of my fucking favorites in that movie, in Infinity War.
Oh, yeah.
He is kicking some serious ass. When he goes up in the air and does this, and his arms go out, and there's like 18 arms, and he's doing his thing, I'm like, Doctor Strange is bad ass. But then he does lay in that one possibility as the only possibility. And so knowing what we know from Doctor Strange and Dr. Stephen Strange, do you believe that the one possibility is what we're going to see in Avengers 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the master of the mystic arts for a reason.
Yep.
He's a sorcerer supreme for a reason.
Yep.
He knows all the realms. And when he was going through the whole thing, which was great effects, all of that is him going quickly through all those different possibilities and then finally finding the one that works.
Yeah.
And so he understands the sacrifice that needs to happen. That's why he says to Tony, it's up to you now.
It's up to you.
It's up to you. And that is the moment where that you know that there's hope, that there's possibilities. No matter, even in the deepest, darkest places of your world, of his world, of Stark's world, he's sitting there having lost everyone.
Yeah.
Who knows where Pepper is? Who knows if she was part of the deaths as well? He's sitting there. Or Hogan, Happy Hogan, if he's gone too.
Oh,
he's just sitting there.
Think about Hap.
Yeah, he's just sitting there, and that's Doctor Strange gives him that gift.
Yeah.
Is Tony strong enough? Can he resist his impulses to be aggressive in his implementation of things? Can he be a little bit better Tony Stark to save everyone and the universe and bring people back, whoever's coming back?
Right. And swallow that pride there, Tony.
Yes.
Because you got to call your buddy. Because that's what I got from It's Up to You, Tony.
Yep.
It's now on you, Tony, Doctor Strange says. He's saying it's on you to go reconcile. It's on you to get rid of that bullshit, that ego. Ego can be the downfall of man. And he's saying that to Tony. Go call your buddy, because there's one possibility to save all this.
Yeah.
And so he's going to go do it. And I think Tony Stark, I think the first call he makes in Avengers 4 is Steve.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that we've had that nice build up. We've had that these great character moments that started with Ultron.
Yeah.
That really started to get fleshed out and went to a breaking point in Civil War. And now here we are. Okay, so Doctor Strange is in there. What do we have next? Thor Ragnarok.
Thor Ragnarok.
Is it needed? Then this is coming in as one of my favorite MCU movies. I don't know. It might be one of my. It might be the favorite. I don't know. I don't know yet. I can't put a favorite out there yet. But Thor Ragnarok. What do we know? He's looking for Infinity Stones.
Yes.
He finds out that the apocalypse, as it were, is coming to Asgard, or he's getting those visions with Surtur.
Surtur.
Surtur. Yep. And then his sister Hela comes back. They fight. He loses an eye. The apocalypse does come to Asgard, and they go off in a ship. He fights the Hulk, obviously. It sets up Loki getting the Tesseract again.
Yeah.
Because he's Loki. Walking out of there and gets the Tesseract.
Loki.
It's always Loki. But is it needed for Infinity War? Because I have a gut feeling, a gut answer. And I'm looking at you working it out.
I feel like maybe I'm trying to find something in it that makes me think that it's needed, other than the relationship between Loki and
Thor, right?
And Thor and Hulk. That changing
and Hulk
relationship.
Because if you think about it, let's break it down. You think about Thor losing Loki.
Yeah.
And whether or not Loki comes back, TBD.
Right.
But the Thor does say, no, he's dead. I think he kind of said it, but I love that Infinity War, you could argue that it's Thor's movie. Like, as far as the hero, as far as the protagonist, because of the arc he has to go through. And, Loki is very, very important to Thor. So losing Loki, especially at the beginning of Infinity War, is hard. So you go to Thor Ragnarok. My gut's telling me you don't necessarily need Thor Ragnarok to kind of help with Infinity War, but then you have that relationship with Loki. But there's no Infinity War Infinity Stone other than Tesseract.
But Ragnarok ends where Infinity War starts, right?
Exactly.
With the ship and
goes
everything.
right into it.
Yeah, it goes right into it. And then
there's these little technicalities that I love.
They keep you connected, and it's smart.
Yeah.
And so you need that. I think you do need, because that relationship there and the loss of the brother. Hulk is with them. Hulk is the one who gets sent, right, to be the warning for all the Avengers that Thanos is coming.
Yeah, he acts as the herald that I think in the comics was Silver Surfer.
Silver Surfer, right. So if you got him there, the only reason he's there is because he's on the planet in Ragnarok with Thor, and they work out their friendship, all of that. So to me, I feel like you do need it. I feel like you have to have it in that way. Plus, it signals when Thor shows up to fight in Wakanda. It signals,
Which is my favorite part of the movie.
It really is. When Ruffalo comes back to have that, or when Banner comes back to have that interaction with Natasha, with Romanoff, with Black Widow, that kind of thing that's still there. So
some unfinished business there,
unfinished
which
business.
I can't wait to see in Avengers 4 as well.
Yeah.
All right, I agree. I think you need Thor Ragnarok because of a lot of character stuff there. I think this falls into both plot and character, because the relationship with Loki, the relationship with Hulk, even Hulk's character is affected by Ragnarok going into Infinity War, because he has this great thing. He stays Hulk in Ragnarok, and then quite the opposite. He goes back and can't turn into Hulk. So that's a great thread that I can't wait to see explored in Avengers 4. Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Did we decide?
Yeah.
Do we need that in there?
Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't think we do.
I don't think we do either. That's more character.
Yeah.
That's more Star-Lord. Reconciling father issues, all that kind of stuff. No Infinity War and Infinity Stones in there.
Not really, but you do have the Gamora Nebula relationship becoming stronger.
Character.
That's why Gamora does what she does, and sacrifices what she sacrifices in the first movie, in Infinity Wars, because of her relationship with Nebula. It's now been patched up because Nebula has finally told her why she's been trying to kill her, why she's been trying to chase her down, and so that when Gamora sees Nebula being tortured in Infinity War, it causes her to give up the information.
And remind me, and you listening at home or watching at home can do the same. Just do it nicely, please, because I forget sometimes. Was it set up in any of the Guardians movies that they were hiding the Soul Stone? That came as a reveal in Infinity War.
I think it was a reveal. I don't recall that they were saying anything about it.
I don't recall it either. But for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, lots of character stuff. Nebula and Gamora.
I don't think you necessarily need it, but you could throw it in there if you wanted to.
You could. Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, unofficially, you could throw it in there. Maybe officially for this conversation, not really needed to enjoy or to enhance Infinity War. I think the last movie we're on now is Black Panther.
Yeah.
Do you include Black Panther? Do you need Black Panther for Infinity War? I would say absolutely.
Absolutely. They fight Wakanda. You have to set up Wakanda so that you can enjoy those scenes in Infinity War and understand the importance of those scenes occurring, where they're occurring, and why Wakanda has so many defenses as a city, or as a country, rather.
Yeah, I think, again, Black Panther works like a lot of these movies. Sometimes they seem to fall into the plot and the character, which I love that that's the going theme here. Right. I would say you get plot and character with this because you learn about T'Challa and Black Panther, what he went through. You learn about Wakanda, why it's so important, because their advanced technology, it's needed to fend off Thanos' army. And then, of course, becomes the set piece for the Act 3 climax of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if we're going to maybe start Avengers 4 in Wakanda. Are we going to pick up, months later? It's where we ended.
Yeah.
If Wakanda is going to come back into the mix or not. But Black Panther, yeah, you need it. And what I love about Black Panther, especially too when you think of the broader MCU and you think about the plot for Infinity War, is that everybody was like, the Soul Stone's there.
Yeah.
It's got to be, right? Nope. Not.
Yeah.
That's what was great.
Everyone thought, including me.
And me
I thought
too.
it was going to be there.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be there. I thought maybe it had something to do with the meteor that crashed in there that created Wakanda, the technology there. But Black Panther, I think, is so needed because of character, because it also gives you Okoye, Shuri, not Killmonger, M'Baku.
Yeah.
Those characters became very important for Infinity War, especially Shuri, and, well, Okoye, too.
Yeah,
I mean, damn, when her Scarlet Witch and Black Widow were just kicking some ass. That was some
great.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so Black Panther needed for sure. Okay, that's it. We did it. We went through all these movies. Avengers 4, to stick the landing, I don't know if that needs to be the title of this episode anymore. I think it's what movies are needed to get to Infinity War and Avengers 4. But either way, your last thoughts when it comes to Avengers 4 and what it might need to do or not do, or what are your thoughts on it sticking that landing?
I want it to mirror what you see in Infinity War, which is guts, gutsy decisions, chances taken, a more mature story, and real stakes.
Yeah.
That I need to see from Avengers 4. People are like, oh, if they all come back, the stakes will... It's comic books.
It is
People
comic
come
books.
back all the time.
Yes, absolutely.
Nobody really 100% dies in comics.
Right.
So for even Batman had, was it Damien? What's his face?
Oh,
Came
yeah.
back? Jason Todd.
Jason Todd, you're right.
Comes back. So there's certainly possibilities all over the place. So that's what I would need to see. And I'm excited, more so than I am concerned or worried. I'm excited, and I can't believe it's November. We haven't seen even a teaser trailer. And this thing comes out, what, in July or June?
No. It comes out May 3rd.
In May?
And I think if we're going to follow what Infinity War did, they might move it back into April.
Yeah.
Like they did last year.
Yeah.
Or this
I need a
past
teaser
April.
trailer, Riley.
I want a teaser trailer as well. We don't even have a freaking title.
We don't have a title.
Which I think is wonderful. I mean, I would love if they didn't announce the trailer at all, or the title at all. Maybe we get a small teaser, and it's just the poster.
Yeah.
Avengers, the logo, and it all ends.
Oh.
And then you just go in blind. But
That's great.
In the world we live in right now with the marketing and this, I'm sure we're going to get a title. I'm sure we're going to get a trailer. For me, what does Avengers 4 have to do? I know a lot of people look to time travel. To your point, the stakes, reversing those stakes. The stakes couldn't be higher, in my opinion, now going into this. But I do believe the emotional connection to these characters is already there.
Yeah.
It's been established. Who are we going to lose? I think we're going to lose some Avengers for real.
Okay.
Steve Rogers is on everybody's lips.
Yep.
Chris Evans goes out and does that tweet that everybody lost their mind when he was just basically saying goodbye to filming, and maybe there's contract negotiation. We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if Tony Stark's going to make it out or not. That'll be interesting to see. You wonder who else might not make it out of there, but I think of all of the Avengers, it's Steve and Tony that you're really looking at.
Yeah.
And who knows? So I think some emotional... we absolutely have to lose one of those guys.
Yeah.
In order for this to really drive it home, the sacrifice. And I'm thinking it's Cap. Because what do we know? Cap, we talked about at the very beginning of this episode, Cap has been the heart of all this.
Yeah.
And I think if you really, you see Captain America do what he's destined to do, which he did in the first movie, sacrifice himself.
Yeah.
I think that the stakes will land. You'll feel satisfied. You'll feel like this was worth it. This is no time travel. This is no nothing. But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. That's Avengers 4. I cannot wait to see it. I know everybody out there is looking to it. Roka, hard question before we leave here.
Sure.
More excited, Avengers 4 or Star Wars Episode 9?
Whoa.
Right? I know. I don't know if I can answer it.
I would have to say Avengers 4.
Yeah.
Only because there's such a great track record.
Yeah.
Whereas Star Wars Episode 9, I'm worried about what I'm going to get. I don't know how they're going to make this all work.
Yeah.
And JJ's a great person to come back and take over. He should have done all three of these.
Yeah,
and
maybe.
so for me, I think the task is harder for him.
Yeah.
And I'm there, and therefore I might be more disappointed in the long run.
I think so.
Whereas Avengers 4, I think I'm super excited, and I can't imagine that I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I don't necessarily. I want to give a soft answer.
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm a Star Wars guy. I always have been, more so than comic book movies. So I might, because of that, because of like, for lack of a better word, a loyalty to the franchise.
To the brand, yeah.
But out of a pure filmmaking, stakes, character, meticulous planning, Avengers 4 checks all those boxes.
Yeah.
And so I would be remiss to say that it might be leaning a little bit more to Avengers 4 because of the history, because of the how many years we've been doing this, how many movies have set this up. It is something to be absolutely. I mean, it is a monumental achievement in filmmaking. However, all the films land with you, you got to admit this is something that they have pulled off.
Yeah,
I don't see how anybody could look at the body of work that Kevin Feige and company have done to say that they haven't pulled it off. But if you're out there and say, no, they didn't land with me, they didn't pull it off, okay, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
I want to hear it, actually. I would love to hear any of your comments. Drop them in those comments below and let us know. But that's episode 21 of the Reilly Roundtable. 21 episodes. Holy shit, that is so great to do. Thank you, everybody out there, for always listening. I want to thank my executive producers of the Reilly Roundtable, Courtney Rose, Dylan Steiner, Kyle Gerbrandt, Zach Anderson, and, of course, DJ Snacks. You're all the executive producers thanks to my Patreon. That's right. You help make this podcast possible. And if you do want to join the cause and receive your own producer credit, you can check out patreon.com/Reilly Roundtable. It's the official Patreon page featuring the show's Page One, which is a screenwriting podcast, Screaming at the Void with Tom Dagnino, a.k.a. Finstock. And, of course, Sundays with Reilly, along with specialty tiers Netflix and Shill, where we all get together for a live watch of a movie together. Plus, of course, the monthly Google Hangout. Next week, I want to tease something. Page One is going to go even deeper into Avengers Infinity War, but I'm going to look at the script where I strive to answer the question, who really, truly is the hero, the protagonist of Infinity War? I think that's interesting. I teased it with Thor. Is it, or is it somebody else? That's what I'm going to dive into when we're thinking about 27 MCU heroes in that thing. How many? Look at those balls in the air. How are we going to do this? But also a special announcement. Keep your eyes peeled on that Patreon page because there's going to be a special commentary. Superman 1978.
Oh.
John Roca's joining me. We're going to just geek the fuck out over Richard Donner's original movie and still one of the best superhero movies of all time. You can maybe look to Superman as like the reason why we're here today.
Yeah.
So we're going to go deep into that because that comes as the reward. We hit our first goal on the Patreon page. And so we're going to give you that commentary. Nice. Me and Roca are going to go deep. So for that info, again, patreon.com/Reilly Roundtable. So, Roca, where can the good people find you?
Well, with this commentary, you'll get to find out what it was like to be in the theaters and seeing it for the first time, because that's how goddamn old I am.
I love that.
You can find me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram there, and all the stuff we're doing here with Collider Sports and Collider Movie Talk and everything going on in my life, Top 10 and the Cinephiles. There you go.
Absolutely. Love all your shows as well. And thank you again, as always, my friend,
Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
This was so much fun. This turned into a great one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. You can follow me at Reilly Round on Twitter and Instagram. Hit me up with your thoughts about this episode in particular. Drop those comments in. The Reilly Roundtable drops every Thursday. It's on One-on-One with Christian Harloff, Podcast One feed every Thursday. Make sure, if you like the show, 4 stars, but 5 stars would be great. And then share it with your friends. Drop in those comments. Podcast, it's on Collider Podcast YouTube channel. You can see it there. Again, every Thursday, the Reilly Roundtable drops. This has been a good one. We will see you next week for an all-new one. See you then. Bye-bye now.